Good morning for me anyway. It's earlier than I'm used to getting up and whatnot. Hey, it's Lori Morgan Ferrero, and it's the last day of Words That Attract Cash. It's been 10 wonderful days of training and coaching, and usually we meet or in the afternoon, but because of a schedule bump, this is an early morning one, which is good for some people and not good for other people. For me, it's just, I can do it. Made me get up, made me get going. Let me move my mic in a little bit closer. Make
There we
sure you guys
go.
can hear me. Yay. As promised, I am in my pajamas. And for those of you who have shown up, I'm going to show you what I literally sleep with in my bed like every night. Do you have any guesses what it is?
Let's see. Okay, hold on. Before I'm guessing, let me just get the tech up and running before
Yeah,
I'm
do that.
guessing.
And people
There we go.
can
Because
write
we
their
already have good
guesses.
morning from Norma, and the other mic sounds way better. And
Which other one?
your teddy barf. Is that what you're wearing?
My teddy bear. That's a good guess.
So, um, what are you wearing?
My pajamas. I literally am.
She's in her pajamas.
I'm not one of those people who sleeps naked, and for all of those who do, good for you. But here's why: because I live in California, and sometimes there are earthquakes, and I don't want to get out of bed and not have clothes on. That's literally
That
why.
that totally makes sense, and it's really funny because Norma says elephant.
Norma's right. I'm gonna show you this. It's called Ellie, and here
Ah, look at that.
it's there. Where's her face? It. I'm
It's a
trying to
big
get it set.
elephant.
Oh, there
That's
we
a
go.
huge elephant.
It's set, yeah, it's like a pillow. It's super comfy, and I literally like hold on to it at night. It's like it's so soothing. I feel like such a dork. But literally, when I went to a conference in San Diego, I took it with me. If I'm flying somewhere, I take it with me,
Oh wow.
and I know I'm such a dork. But does anybody else have anything that they sleep with? Because I know that there are other people who sleep with things like blankets or something who or animals. Do you let your dogs or cats come on and fess up? You let those
You
sleep in your
know-
bed?
So what's funny about this is that this is a morning show, but it looks like a night show before you go to bed. Um,
It does.
right? So Paula Ritchie is here. She says, "Good morning from South Carolina," and she says, "Mr. Ferrero, you sleep with Mr. Ferrero."
Yes, he is also there, but he doesn't get between me and my Ellie.
And she says that the elephant should have been her next guest. It's Fluffy. And Kira says, hi, hello, Edifat. So, hi, Kira. You guys can start joining us in the Hangout, actually. So, the link to join us in the Hangout is available on wordsthatattractcash.com. And all you have to do is right below the video. And I'm going to share my screen for a second so you guys can see this. If you are on Facebook or if you are on the page itself, right here on a Hangout, you'll be watching us right here. This is us talking,
Bonnie's
and
here.
right below you have the join the party, and you click on that, and that opens up a Hangout, and you can just click here. Make sure you mute yourself right there, and then click this, and okay, get it, and you'll be joining us in the Hangout talking to Lori for the last time face to face. So right here. That's what you want to do. Whoopa, there we go.
Yay! So it's kind of a little bit sad. It's the last day.
I
Even though
know.
I will be talking again this afternoon, it's really going to be much more of a Q&A. So it's I don't know how long it's going to last, and this is the more official coaching of what you've been used to for the Words That Attract Cash. And again, if you're just joining us, wordsthatattractcash.com. is where you can actually go interact with us.
There you
And
go.
today,
And let's just say, so we got some bunch of like interaction from Facebook. So we have Hannah says good morning, and Linda says was distracted with your elephant video. So guys, if you want to actually join us live, talk to Lori face to face, do that. Words that attract cash. If you're on Facebook, it's above the video right there. If you are on our website, it's below the video. Either way, you can jump in and say hi face to face. Let's
and
get
here's the
started
other
with the
thing
rave.
too. I just want to
What's
make it clear, because we love having the interaction on the video. You don't have to show your face. You can totally just just unmute the microphone and talk to us that way too. So either way you want to do it, to the level of involvement you want to be. I love it. I love when I get to talk with you guys, and we get to talk voice to voice at the very least. So jump on in, wordsthatattractcash.com, and we'll get started here in just 2 seconds.
Yep.
Get out my morning glasses. So and another sip of coffee.
That's a huge mug.
I like things big. I don't like to go back. And here's the thing, I asked on my Facebook. Sorry, a little more like chatter here. But I asked on my Facebook last night because I was thinking, when I get up in the morning, what am I going to drink in the morning? I'm playing with my hair, aren't I? You thought, sorry.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I thought about it because I don't always drink coffee in the morning, but I am today because I need a little jolt. Usually I always drink water in the morning, and I have had a glass of water. And I also have an unusual drink, but I love it. It's just seltzer water with cranberry juice because it's refreshing to me. So that's usually what I have. And if I have coffee, it's usually 1 cup. And I know it's a gigantic mug, right?
Yep.
But I don't even necessarily drink all of it. And I like it kind of diluted, like just enough to get the juice, the caffeine, and stuff like that. And if I'm really feeling productive, I'll actually make a smoothie. And I did that every day for 3 years. I was really good at that. But right now, we're doing coffee, and so I've heard a lot of different things of what people were drinking on Facebook. But at any rate, onward. Let's talk about the rave factor.
The rave. I keep doing this. So I'm gonna do this like that. There we go. And then I'm gonna look for the little worksheet. So you guys, if you are watching us on Facebook, or if you're on our website and you want to download this worksheet, then what you need to do is just jump over to wordsthatattractcash.com, and you'll have it right there to the right of the video. So you can follow along with us as we do this, because right here on the bottom, as we're going to go there, you're going to have some spaces to write down everything that Lori is teaching today. So you probably want to print this out and fill it out. So once we take these training offline, you would still have the memory from today. So this is all at wordsthatattractcash.com, and let's get started with the rave.
With the rave. Now, what's really cool about this, that graphic came up super clear. It looks beautiful. So what's cool about this graphic is this has all of the blanks filled in, right? I've called this sort of, it's evolutionary marketing, relationship marketing, and it's related to building a courtship, building a relationship, whether it's with a person to a person, or in marketing, it's still a person to a person. So if you can think about a romantic relationship and what you would do to learn about that person, to warm them up, to build the trust, to get a commitment, wink, wink, a sale, sex. And then what do you do after? You don't just stop talking. You don't leave them. You follow up. And today we're talking about the rave factor. And if you've done this really well, if you're in a relationship, you are going to have people talking about how wonderful you are. What a great, people are going to hate you because they're going to go, oh, you have the best marriage, you have the best relationship ever. How did you find someone? Does he have a brother? Does she have a sister? But when the rave factor happens in human life, the women in particular, but men also, love to tell when they got a good deal. They love to tell when they were treated well, and they love to tell you when they're not. People, your customers are going, they are your marketing squad for good or for bad. And today, more than ever, people are reading reviews, right? They're going on Yelp or Amazon or what, before they'll even look at a business, they will read a review to find out what kind of service that person or that business gives. So creating a buzz in a good way is a really important thing to do, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And also, I want to mention, like you said, we are taking this training down on Monday. This particular one is the one that has everything filled out. And as a little aside, I'm going to show you. These are things I haven't talked about. The chakras. We're not talking about the chakras in this. This is the woo-woo part of relationship marketing. This is something I discuss in evolutionary marketing, and it's how different vibrations are lit up during different parts of emotions. And so that's deeper. It's beyond the scope of this. If you don't even believe in that crap, it doesn't matter. This stuff still works. But it's just an interesting correlation that I found to chakras and the different parts of human behavior. So that's what you're seeing, even though we are not discussing it on these calls. We are discussing it in the evolutionary marketing plan, and we have 4 seats left. So if you are interested, I would highly recommend that you take some action. So
speaking of take some action, right? Speaking of take some action, you guys can save $800 still today, right? When you get 40,000 points. So 40,000 points saves you $800, and you can get into evolutionary marketing and learn everything about this stuff, like go deeper with everything that Lori is teaching us. So if you have any headlines that you need help with, or testing your copy, or just really want to dive deep into how to find your voice and communicate that through your copy, check out the evolutionary plan. And that is, you can get directly to that right here. I'm going to share my screen again. Let us see. So right here, you can click this, and that will take you to the evolutionary marketing plan right there. And if you have over 40,000 points, and you can see that right here, we got Sally with almost 80, and we have Paula with 67, and we have people there you go. Most people are over 40,000. So all you guys can save above the $500 here. You can save an extra $300, which is basically one payment less, and get yourself into this awesome evolutionary marketing plan that really will help you stand out from the noise. So, and it will help you dive deeper into what Lori's teaching us today.
Exactly. And so, by the way, that link in particular will take you to the page. It doesn't give you the extra discount. So if you qualify, please email us, and we'll make sure that you get that. And also that the proper link is in the handouts from today for people who have over 40,000 points. So let's talk about we talked about yesterday, like what we want people to do after they've become a customer, right? So follow up, autoresponders, gifts, make them feel special, promotions. You want to continue building the trust. And so when customers, this isn't on your sheet. Yes. When customers are treated like they matter, they will brag about you. And that's the word you want to fill in, brag. And the truth is, you know, I mentioned the different genders only because women talk a lot more. And guys, you probably know this already, right? Women speak about 20,000 words a day, whereas men speak about 7,000 words a day. So women are, we literally release a chemical in our brain, I believe it's oxytocin, when we talk. It's like heroin. It's like we get off on talking. So
you know, there's a joke about that where 3 women were sentenced for life in jail, and they open the doors after like 30 years, and they go like, okay, you're free, and they're like, 5 more minutes.
I love it. That's about true. So at any rate, women are a higher valuable customer because they do talk more, which means they're going to tell their friends and they're going to pass on your information, because women speak about 3 times more often than men, and it's a way of building rapport. Mm-hmm. And that's something that's very important to women in general, is they need the village, right? That goes back to our caveman metaphor too. So that's something to remember. Men, of course, also talk about, you know, getting great bargains, or I remember a speaker used to talk about how he used to have contests about who could pay the least for a pair of shoes or for something. So it was like, I got these for $2, and whoever he was competing with would be like, oh, I got these for $1.50. So that's cool too. But
is that kind of like the women competing on how they can negotiate and talk to other how they can negotiate price down? Is that the?
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody does want a bargain. Yeah. And when you get a good deal and it's something of quality, that's when you're going to be telling other people about it and sharing it. And that makes it a lot easier for you as far as marketing goes. You don't have to spend a lot of money on buying artificial marketing when you have organic marketing. That's the better way to go. And exactly. People are going to trust that much more so than they're going to trust a pop-up ad or a Facebook ad. If you actually are telling somebody your true experience, then you're building a lot more trust and getting more raves. So bragging is good. So how do we capture that? Usually the best time to do it is right after they have had a great experience with the product or with your service. Now, usually you don't want to just, as soon as they get something, go, so how was it? Do you want to rate this now? You want to give them a little bit of time for it to digest and for them to use whatever it is that you have sent or delivered. Yeah. So what are some of the ways that you can get testimonials from people, from happy customers? How do you do that? What are some ideas that you guys have when you're in your own businesses? Do you have testimonials? I hope you do. I have to be honest, it's been one of my lesser one of my weaknesses is collecting them, because people tell me all the time how terrific my programs are, and I collect about probably a third of how many people say they love my program. But then we're changing that because I have a systemized program or systemized formula now, so that helps. But how do you guys collect testimonials? That's what I'm curious to hear.
So Paula Ritchie says that everyone wants to feel seen and special and thought well of. So that's not really about the testimonial, but she refers to like the raving part of it, I'm assuming, right, Paula?
Right. That is.
So,
that's great.
How do you collect testimonials? So while we're waiting for other people to jump in, how do I collect testimonials? I just go like, hey, can we jump on a hangout and I'll record you, and I have a bunch of questions already ready. to be like, so, what was life before we met? And why did you decide to contact me? And then how's life after we met? And would you want to continue working together? And what was the difference in what you got from me and what you had before, stuff like that. So I
Awesome.
usually try to capture that on video. um,
Right.
right. And yeah, because video is now like a little, people trust more the I guess, seeing people on screen, because you can write whatever you want to write, don't you?
You absolutely can. And the truth is, video wasn't very viable a few years ago. It was, you could get video sometimes, but it depends on people's bandwidth. Like I know Paula's out in the sticks, and so my Linda is out in the sticks, and sometimes the connections
Yeah.
aren't the best. But now video has become so condensed and so crunched down that it's so much easier to stream and
Yeah.
have really good quality. So I
And you know
think
what?
that
Yeah.
the best
Yeah.
way.
What's another thing that's cool is like you can just tell people like, hey, just take your phone, record. Don't worry about what you're recording. I will edit it later. So here's a list of questions. Just record yourself answering them. So there's no bandwidth, and the phone
Yes.
quality is like really, really good right now, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so just send me that, upload it to YouTube, I'll download it, or upload it to Drive, I'll download it and I'll edit. And all you have to do is just, yap to the camera. How much you love
Yep.
me.
I like that. I do. I like that a lot. And I will be doing a lot more video testimonials in the future because testimonials weren't or video testimonials were harder to display before. So I literally have almost 20 years of testimonials. I certainly don't have video of Mark Victor Hansen or, people like that, Armin Morin, who they're just not on video, but I could always go back to them. I think that's actually something that this is another thing that I am learning from myself is that, hey, if you had a great experience, there's nothing wrong with going back to a past client, a past customer, and recording a video or getting a testimonial, whatever's easiest for them. Now, that's another thing. If it's a real pain in the butt for them, they're not going to do it. Or if you just say, can I get a testimonial from somebody who's super busy, they are probably not going to do it, even if they love you and they had a great experience with you. So is it okay to write your own testimonials?
I've had that before. People are like, hey, just let me know what you want me to write. And I'll just put my name on it. And I'm like, it's so weird because, yeah, you want a testimonial to serve you, right? But it's like, I want to know what you felt. Like, did you have a good time? Like, how was it for you? Like you don't have a thought, like just leave a thought. It's, yeah. And I don't know about that writing stuff.
I know. I agree with you on that. It's like, why can't you just come up with a thought? But I'm telling you, like if you have a book that you're writing and you want testimonials and things like that, they're busy. And if you give them a template of kind of what you want to say, of course it's hard. It's hard to talk about yourself. Writing your bios and your about page is probably one of the hardest things that you have to do, because you have to really look at your own what you provide and what sets you apart. But it's really important to do. And sometimes you need somebody else to reflect that back to you. And that's what I'm here for. So
let's talk about one of your really nice testimonials that you got. And it's on the worksheet. So I'll share that. And that's from Christine Holbrook.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And she says, thank you, Lori, for being on the cutting edge of a new way of doing business. We have to regain the trust and loyalty of our customers, and it's definitely done by speaking their language, the language of honesty, integrity, and care. These economic times are really a crisis of trust, which is true, and writing with heart and for relationship building is the future. Thank goodness. Is that a recent one? Because trust has been deteriorating for a long time. But
Yes, this is a recent one, and Christine wrote this one on her own, no template or anything. This was unsolicited, actually. And what I wanted to point out is this is kind of a shorter testimonial. I have a lot of really long ones too that people will just, which I love because they obviously somebody spent some time with me and that they spent enough time afterwards to let me know that I meant something to them. However, my feeling is in testimonials, if you can keep them more condensed, then it's better. If you can have a picture or like Yvonne said, a video is even better, but something that makes it seem like a real testimonial and not somebody who is a piece of clip art, or that it's something that you wrote, like you made up yourself, like you were saying people can do that too. I don't agree with that. By the way, if that came across as if I'm suggesting that you write testimonials specifically for people that have worked with you, that is not what I meant. What I meant was writing a template, so you can write pieces of it that you can just sort of stimulate their minds, just to jog their experience with you. But please don't ever completely write another person's testimonial. That's not what I was suggesting. So just to be clear.
Yeah.
And
so and actually, so let's practice that a little bit. If you stuck with us for 10 days now, what was your experience? How was that different for you? What did you get out of it? We'd love to hear, like, what was your aha moment?
Your aha moment. Yes.
Aha moment. Like, why did you join us for 10 days straight and spend hours with that? Like now 10 hours with us, or binge watching the replays and stuff like that. What did you get out of it? So we'd love to hear that in the comments. And as you writing this, let me just say what Paula just left on our comment. She said, I want to make giving a testimonial simple, just a tiny short favor that would mean a lot to me personally. Authors have to scramble for reviews, so it helps to have an email list of your buyers, a Facebook group keeping up with interest, and just keep mentioning how helpful the reviews are. And then she says, oh, wow, I wouldn't write my own. I'm all for making it simple, but not that much. Maybe they can fill out a shell like Mad Lips. I wonder how that would turn out. So yeah, what Lori was just saying, yeah, have a template. Don't write it word for word.
That's right. Exactly right. And if you go back to Christine's testimonial for a minute, I want to point something else out too.
Okay, so while I do that, Bonnie, do you want to say what you mentioned, and I will pick that Bonnie's testimonial. There we go. So Bonnie, do you want to say what you want to unmute yourself? Do you know how? I think you know how. Because you just left like a great comment here, and it will be nice to. There we go.
Sure. Hey. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
We can hear you. Bonnie, speak.
Speak. Oh, something happened over there.
Yourself, so unmute again, and
she sounded so clear too.
Yeah, she was. Yeah. Let me unmute her. Hold on.
Website.
There you go. You're working.
Yay.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, now you can hear me?
Yeah.
Before I had clients, it was suggested to get former employers or people you worked with to give you a testimonial.
Yes.
So she said, before I had clients, it was suggested to get former employers or people you worked with to give you.
Well, so that was good. And then when you get clients, you can substitute that.
Oh, I see. Exactly. People who have worked with you, and then as you get more people working with you, then you build out your testimonial arsenal. Absolutely. Yes. Going with previous people and, picking up the phone or emailing them or whatever it takes to get in touch with them again, skywriting. So yeah, former people are most definitely, even if you haven't just performed a service for them or delivered a product, still way worth taking the time to go back and talk to them. Thanks, Bonnie. Definitely a good idea.
So the Christine testimonial.
So yes. So what I wanted to point out about this was, first of all, it's kind of short and it's concise. But one of the things is that I gave it a headline. Now, Christine didn't actually say speaking the language of today's market is Lori's specialty, but I gleaned that summary from what it is that she wrote. And so I put that as a title to make it easier for people who are reading about me and how wonderful I am and what my expertise is, that they can just kind of scroll, they can browse, they can scan, and they can see that headline, speaking the language of today's market is Lori's specialty. Oh, great. Okay, so I can, without really reading the words, I know that, okay, this person, that's what she said, basically. And that is the vibe of what it is that she said. So if you can take your headlines, or I'm sorry, take your testimonials and extract a summary from them of what the biggest benefit is, or what the highlight is of that testimonial, it's going to read a lot smoother in your actual copy. And there's all kinds of different ways to display it, right? You can rotate it, you can put them, I have your testimonials in the PS, which is something that I started doing a lot. Just add them at the end, because sometimes testimonials will interrupt the flow of sales copy. But it's just very important to have them.
I like that idea.
Right.
Yeah. I never thought of putting it in the PS. That's smart.
It doesn't interrupt the flow, and you still have them there. There's sort of a trend to put them on the side, and sometimes we'll do that too as a column, because again, to me, smacking them in the middle of your copy interrupts the flow.
Yeah.
But it also, you'll see pages and pages and pages of testimonials that some people will have, and it does strengthen the trust, right? Yeah. Because it's like, wow, this person has helped all these people, even if you don't read the testimonials. So it's important to have them and to start collecting them if you're not.
Love it. Let's go down the worksheet. We're halfway through. Worksheet. I know.
So another thing you can do to increase the rave factor is, well, first of all, I mentioned this already. Happy customers share good and bad experiences. And what's funny is they'll actually share bad experiences more than they'll share good experiences, right?
That is true.
Yes. So I remember one time years ago, I was so angry at a restaurant that I literally opened a Yelp account just so I could yell at them. And I didn't even have a Yelp account. And I was so mad. I'll tell you this story too. My girlfriend was having a birthday party, and we were celebrating in this high, swanky, I don't remember the name of it now. It's someplace on Sunset Boulevard. It was a swanky bar, and we were spending a lot of money. There were probably, 15 of us, having Cosmos and snack hors d'oeuvres and things like that. And so around, I think 9 or 10 o'clock, they told us we had to leave because it was a celebrity hangout and celebrities were going to be coming there and we needed to go. And that pissed me off.
Yeah.
Because we were there not to see celebrities. We were there having a party and spending money. We weren't, we weren't panhandling or anything. And I thought it was the rudest thing I had ever heard of any restaurant doing. And I didn't care that it was for celebrities. It was still bad customer service. Don't you agree? Was I right?
Totally. And it's fascinating. It's like, wow. So how often will this celebrity eat here? And how often will every other day people are going to eat here? Right? So you're basically pissing off your entire clientele just for like a one-time, celebrity show up.
Exactly. And then I'll tell you another one that I was already a member of Yelp, but I didn't say anything no, that's not true. I was going to say that a lot of times I'll have a good experience and I don't necessarily go and share it on Yelp. But I had my dog a few years ago, I think it's 3 years ago, very old, sweet dog, but he was old and he started having issues. And we took him to the emergency room because he was having a seizure. I don't want to make this a sad story, but it is a little bit of a sad story. At any rate, so we took him to the vet. So we had just moved to our house, so we didn't know any vets around here. And it was, you know, an emergency. So we took him to the vet, and it wasn't the vet, but it was like the handler or something came in and said, it's, well, your dog needs to go see a neurologist, and here's the name of a neurologist. You can take him tomorrow, and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, you know what? He's 13 years old. We're not taking him to a neurologist. We know he's been like hardly able to stand for a long time. And the doctor or whatever he was literally said to us, okay, well, there are 4 other dogs that I really need to take care of that make a difference, really. And he left us. And so I wrote a scathing review. They called me and they said, we're so sorry you had that experience. And would you please consider changing your review? And so I actually did. I said, I gave them 2 stars for taking the time to call me. But I said, the rest of the review stands. It was a terrible experience.
And that's, you know, that's super interesting because you're right. When we get, so what did they say? Like one happy customer will get you like maybe 1 or 2 happy customers, but 1 unhappy customers will mess up through the other customers.
That's exactly right. Exactly. Right. So yes. So you definitely want to make sure, you know, that you keep your customers as happy as you can. And if not, then see how you could make them happier, see what you could do. But telling a friend is a really great way to increase your rave exponentially. And you can do it. You can you can literally tell a friend, you know, word of mouth. This is one of the things to fill in via word of mouth, like over cocktails, or you're just, you know, like, oh my goodness, I have the best hairdresser, or wow, I worked with Yafad and it was the smoothest experience I've ever had, which is pretty true. You're going to get a really good testimonial. We've started doing them like every morning, and then we never record them.
That's right. So while we're doing that, Cameron says, hey, Cameron, that she likes the idea of headlines for a testimonial. That's a really cool one. And then Paula left a really nice one. She says, it is such a relief to learn about a way of speaking to my audience that I can actually see myself doing. I want to be genuine and effective to reach people so I can help them. And Lori sets the steps in order to do that in a natural, real, and honest way. No hype, just reality and a deep understanding of how people think and feel. So that's an awesome testimonial that we can actually screenshot and share. Yay. Thanks, Paula.
Thank you so much. Exactly. And that, so that you can take screenshots of Facebook or anything that's typed up. You want to get people's permission. So like, Paula, is it okay if we use that as a testimonial?
But also that's another very interesting thing. If people leave reviews on public places, then I don't think you really need permission because it's public.
Well, you're right. You're right. That's actually evolved. You know, you make a very good point. Reviews didn't used to be as important or as viable as they are today. They're so prolific. And so in that case, exactly. You don't have to get permission.
But let me tell you something. So one of my clients had a private membership where ladies got in and they thought that this is a safe, secure, private, you know, we're paying for a closed community to be in. And most of the interactions happen because, you know, I'm a Hangout girl. So everything happens on Hangout and they're recorded. And that's how we created the content for the membership. And so women would feel very comfortable coming in and interacting with the host and sharing, you know, what's happening with them. And then the host would take those videos and turn them into marketing material. And what happened is that women stopped showing up. They're like, I'm coming in, I'm thinking this is, you know, a safe and private place for us to interact. And lo and behold, my tears are now on public display without my permission. That happened to me. She took one of my videos that I was interacting
Right?
in that thing. Yeah. And I was like, wow, marketing material from like my private tears? No.
Yeah, that's a really great point, because there are, private Facebook groups that everybody's not privy to, and it's unethical to share things that are shared in an environment that is supposed to be private. And so
Yeah, so
that's
everything that's public, feel free to share. And Paula says, definitely, you're welcome.
thank you.
So public stuff, and you know, go ahead, share. It's public. Anyone can see it. You can link to it. It's public. But if it's private, like Lori said, you have to ask for permission, and you know, be thoughtful, because like we just said, you're gonna piss them off, and then you get 30 people who will never work with you because of what they heard from other people.
That's exactly. And I want to say that extends to emails too. Like sometimes
Yeah.
I've gotten emails that are very, very personal emails. And when I went to write back to them and say, oh, this is wonderful, can I use this as a testimonial? Sometimes they freak out and say, oh, let me write it better. And I said, no, this is what I want. I want it to
Yeah.
sound just like you. But some people are nervous about that. So if it's in a private sector like that, if it's email, if it's in a private group, if it's in a personal IM, an instant message,
Right.
that's when you're going to need permission. But right, like Yafat said, if it's a review and it's on a public site, then go for it.
Right. So the next step is, how do we make them famous?
How do you make her famous? So do you guys have any ideas about this? How can you make somebody else famous? I mean, look, we have Kardashians still. What the heck? How are
Why?
they famous? Um, right?
I
So
don't.
how
I
do
don't know
you
if you want to be as famous as the Kardashians.
yeah, exactly. But how do you make your customers famous? How do you make them feel important? Well, one of the things you can do is mention them in your that looked nice. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll stop touching my face. One of the things that you can do is mention them in your articles, in your promos, in like in my emails, I've mentioned the winners that we've had. We've had some wonderful winners. We have Paula and Sally, and Cheryl made a wonderful point a few days ago that I repeated in my email. So it's a small thing, but it feel good to read your name in somebody else's social media or in somebody else's news feed in a good way, not in a bad way, but it makes you feel good.
Yep. Yeah, and you know, one of the ways that I teach social media is like, rather than creating content all the time, right? When you curate, when you share other people's stuff, especially if they've never heard about you. If I shared something from Lori and I mention her, I tag her, so she gets like a notification that like, hey, if I, you know, mentioned you, and she goes there and she goes like, who's that person? And she sees like, wow, Lori just shared a brilliant insight. How smart is she? And then I do that. And then she goes like, wow, look at this random person who thinks I'm smart and brilliant. Let me check them out a little bit more. And now we build a little
Right?
relationship, right? We started on the right foot.
Yes, that's exactly. And sometimes people will surprise you
Yeah.
and make you famous without you even knowing that it's going to happen. Like I had a really good article. It was a copy makeover, and Bond Halbert, Gary Halbert's son, put it up on his Facebook, and I wasn't expecting him to. I didn't ask him to, but that got, like you said, a lot of people are like, "Oh, wow, well, Bond thinks that Lori Morgan Ferrero is pretty hot crap. So what is she
Right.
doing? What's up with her?" And yeah, that's really it helps your whole relationship with your customers and with your business
So when you actually want to get more referrals, or more like actually increase the rave factor and make people stick around for longer, increase your retention by giving shout outs, right? Like by
Right.
quoting what they said, by featuring them on your stuff, especially if they look up to you. That's that will make them feel like, oh my God, that person hears me, values me, appreciates me, and shares me with everybody else. And who am I to be shared, right? So that will make them even more loyal customers and bigger raving fans.
Exactly. Exactly. So we have Cheryl here, and I'm not sure if she has something specific to say, but I know Cheryl is a smart cookie, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about testimonials. Do you have any insider secrets that you like to do with people to get testimonials? And I know you're an author, so that's almost a different kind of way. You have to have testimonials of some sort on your back cover or to promote your books, right?
Yeah. So Cheryl, just don't ever say borrow borrow authority. That is such a sleazy little way of old marketing.
Yeah, well, that's true. Let's talk about that for a second. Borrowing authority is a little underhanded. And what that means is using somebody else and sort of it's like rubbing shoulders with somebody who's higher than them. For example, this was years and years ago, but I will say that the winner of The Apprentice, Christy, I forgot her last name now. Christy, she's a doll, but at any rate, she might have even just been the first runner-up of The Apprentice. But at any rate, she was hired by this company to come and speak, and not because anything that she really did, but it was because she was on The Apprentice, and so by association, this was with the current president of the United States, with Donald Trump. She got his authority by association, even though I can't even remember her last name. I'm embarrassed because she's a sweetheart. Christy Frank. But that is borrowing authority. And so, yeah, it is a little old-fashioned, but not.
Well, but to me, that only means that, you're not all that. You need someone else's name too. And I actually saw some people use Tony Robbins quotes in their own ads, right? So you put Tony Robbins' face and something like that he said, and then you leading to your own sales page. I'm like, so I'm seeing this thinking this is Tony Robbins, and then I'm going to your own page, and who the heck are you? Right. Like instead of borrowing authority, why don't you just become the authority?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I had that. That reminded me of earlier when I think it was probably the second class, when we were talking about the book, Eat That Frog. And I couldn't remember the name of the guy who said it, because I said, Mark Twain said it originally. Right. But so many people now will say it without giving credit to where it actually came from or anything. I don't mean just that as an example, Eat That Frog, but well, I do mean that as an example, but I mean, there are lots of other examples that are unethical, of people taking people's quotes and using them as their own and not giving them the proper credit to where they came from.
Yeah. And, there's this thing now, influencers marketing. So you can pay a ton of money. So you would pay an influencer to basically talk about you so that the audience's influencers will be like exposed to your messaging. And hopefully that will translate into them loving you for, so like if you're helpful, if you're helping other people, if you have something to say, if you contribute, if you're just being you and authentic and stuff like that, then you don't need all these things. And we talked about in the first training about the difference between a huge list and a loyal list, right? And or like a huge following on social, which is mostly Indonesia and Pakistan and India and stuff. People will never
Yeah.
buy from you, right? So become that person by being that person, by helping other people, by sharing good stuff, by getting authentic testimonials because you're actually helping people. And
Right.
then it will last. It won't be such like an overnight kind of like, oh, I'm up and then nobody hears about me because nobody, I'm not helpful.
That's right. Right.
Big rant.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, another way that you can make them famous is by interviewing them or letting them interview you.
Oh, I like that.
So that's it's not quite like borrowing authority, but it's like you're the reporter and you're so like if people are interviewing me, for example, then you would be the reporter and I would be the expert. If I was interviewing you, like your expertise, Yafat, then you would be the expert and I would be the reporter. And then using bits of that interview as highlights for your
Yep.
sales copy and for snippets that you can use in social media and whatnot. But that's something where you can, and it's kind of what you were talking about actually, when you're talking about video interviewing people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that you'll go back and you'll edit it. Now I wouldn't because I'm not comfortable with editing, but
Well, the
I
reason
would
why
have.
the reason why I would edit it is because sometimes they go like, or, or like, let me say that
Absolutely.
differently, or, and they send you like a 10-minute video and you want a 1-minute testimonial.
Well,
Not
that's
in
true.
order, not to take stuff out of context and be like, okay, put this with this and this, and then, you get
Oh,
like a different testimonial, but like just shorter.
that drives me crazy too. That's a really good point too. Yeah, don't take things out of context when you get like a long rambling testimonial or information like that. But you don't want to take it out of context because things sound different when they're taken out of context, don't they?
Yeah. What do you call that? Wasn't there like auto-tunes, right? Like where they're like putting words together and making a different song or
Oh,
something,
that's right.
right?
Yeah. You can do so much nowadays with technology. You can make people say things that they never even said, but it's
Right.
in their voice. So I don't
Yep.
recommend doing that either, by the
So
way.
Cheryl said that a great book she read about testimonials. Cheryl, jump
Yeah.
in. Jump in, lady.
I love hearing about references and resources. So yeah, I would love to hear if she's having trouble with her microphone. If you can type it.
No, she knows. You aren't unmuted. Go for it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, there
Oh,
you
well,
are.
I've been
Hi.
sitting here being quiet thinking I was muted. I'm not going to show you video today because I'm somewhat of a mess, a hot mess.
I'm
But
in my pajamas, but that's okay. That's fair.
yeah. So, the book, The Brain Audit by Sean D'Souza. I don't know. Are you familiar with
I
him?
am
He's in New
not.
Zealand.
No, I'm not. The brain
Okay.
audit. I'm writing this down.
Rush to get this book. And
Wow.
I've heard about him in our circle before. And
Uh-huh.
the thing that his approach is that he positions first from the problem for attention getting, for reaching to a prospect. Where we're solution based, where you present the solution to a person, but sometimes the people don't know what the problem is. And so
Yeah.
and the reason why I went after this was because of Facebook ads, where a gentleman was talking about how he's going to put things into certain segments. I can't even think of the cohorts based on the marketing of the problem.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, I had to really switch my brain here. But the thing that was really good in this book was about how he gathers perfect testimonials and the questions that he asks in regards to the problem. So that, like how you ask the person for the testimonial, so it's completely finely tuned into the problem that your product or your service solves, and how to walk a person through getting the testimonial.
I love it. Thank you. I will look that up for sure. The brain audit, right?
Yeah. Yep. 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 Yeah. I mean, I did it through Kindle, but it's another one of those books I want to have on my shelf, so I'll order the book. The other thing too is he has a great podcast, but he's about 3-month vacations too. But he's very he's very gentle to listen to, and you always get something out of it. Now I want to go back to this authority thing.
Okay,
go for it.
Well, yeah. Here we go. So when I had my bookstore, there's a lot of things that happen as a result of just pure luck and proximity. And when I mention proximity, it's what Yafat was saying earlier about people go to these events, they get their pictures taken with a celebrity, then they market, and it implies this endorsement by borrowing that authority, or stuff that you put on your website where you quote somebody. But what I had happen to me was there was this guy walking down the street that stopped in my store. He was just, to me, a guy walking down the street in a pair of sweats. Turns out it was a U.S. astronaut who'd spent 5 years on the space station Mir, and he retired from the Navy and moved here to my village. So what I became was the international headquarters for signed and personalized copies of his book, Off the Planet. So when he would go out and speaking through the Washington Speakers Bureau, he stood up on stage, mentioned my website, used my 800 number if you want to get signed or personalized copies of my book. So let me tell you, you talk about borrowing authority. There is his name is Jerry Lininger, by the way. There is no way in the world I ever could have bought that kind of advertising.
Absolutely.
So that's a
kind
of a thing.
But that's not what I mean. Okay, so borrowing authority would be like exactly what you said. Would be, oh, here's a list of people I met at an event, and look at me, with Jack Canfield. Look at me with, that thing. And so now that when you look at Jack Canfield, you're thinking of me, and so awesome. I'm famous because we have a picture together.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Now another thing too, you've had like what just happened here when I mentioned the brain audit. If you ever buy and read that book, see now I borrowed his authority. See, as far as like
he gave it to you.
Huh?
He gave it to you.
Right, but in the sense that now when you think about Sean D'Souza and the brain audit and this way of looking at, writing your sales copy and things like that, you're going to connect me now with Sean D'Souza.
Well, what I will connect is that you have great recommendations, but I'm not going to be like, oh, I like him, and so now I like Cheryl because she mentioned that book.
Yeah,
I got. Well, I trust your opinion because, you and I have the same taste. We value the same people, but not because like, oh, you and what's his name, Sean D'Souza are like buddies, and I can get to him through you, or you're as smart as him, or you're an astronaut, or you did what he did. Like totally different.
Right. But he provides, he does within that book, I'll go back to what your original question was. He does provide a really simplistic formula for after and getting realistic testimonials that are in support of the problem that your product or service solves and the solutions that were obtained.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to.
Okay, so I'll tell you why I'm like, you see me a little passionate and agitated about this. One of those gurus went out and created a product that's called like, how can you be famous? By downloading, here is the list of all the emails that you can email all these famous people, and start rubbing shoulders with them so you can be famous like them. So why don't you go and try to stalk these people online and have them notice you. Hopefully they notice you, and hopefully they give you a shout out, and then you're famous because someone gave you a shout out. I'm like, wow, all that energy to go and now start rubbing shoulders with like this list of people who like, instead build your own thing. You become that person on the list. And that's what I mean. It's like, okay, we can go and be like, what do you call it? Nose browsers?
Brown nosers.
Browners? Nose brown. We can be that, or we can just be us right? And just deliver value, and you become that famous person.
Yes.
I had to take a sort of a middle stance on this, because I agree with Cheryl that there are times when it's fine, and that it's called PR. And I know that people can be unethical about it. And for a long time, Dan Kennedy wouldn't allow people to take pictures with him because of that very reason. But I have pictures with Dr. Drew Pinsky, Bo Derek. I mean, do I know these people? No. But would I hesitate to use them? No, I would not hesitate to use them because they took those pictures with me. I wouldn't say, oh, I worked with Dr. Drew Pinsky, but I wouldn't mind saying, look, these are the circles that I run in. These are the people that I see. So for me, I don't have as much of a problem with it as you might have with it. I've seen it used very unethically, but I also think that there's something to be said that it's PR. So, call it sleazy if you like, but that's what it is. And people do pay attention to it.
As my daddy always told me, unknown, the company you keep.
Unknown is, what is that?
You are known.
You are known by the company you keep. There you go.
Oh, you're known by the company you keep. Well, there you go. Right. Exactly. So I guess.
But that means you have to be in that company. You can't just go like, hey.
Right. That's
right.
That's what I meant, I guess, by kind of straddling both of these. Absolutely, make yourself the expert. Don't just think that that's enough, just that you can be in someone's shadow and that you can go hang out your shingle and you can suddenly be an expert in something if you don't know your stuff. So most definitely know your stuff before you.
Yes. And the other thing too, Lori, that I think that could help to build people's confidence and like you said earlier, I mean, all of this, we're seeing so much being put out there about the authority, become the expert. But, and it's like the Montessori teaching method, like the one level, like if kids rise up to a level. So as long as you know more than another group of people, are you not working? I mean, like you're an expert authority to that one strata. So choose your stratus and I mean, there's so many marketers and so many business, like James Schramko is a perfect example because like if you watch his whole history as he grew, as his own experience grew, as his knowledge base grew, as he became more of an expert in broader things, he brought in Drucker, I mean, that mindset and all of that. I mean, as long as he stayed one thing ahead of the people that were in his audience, then he will always be an expert. Like you, to me, you're the expert on this whole form of copywriting because I'm out and you're the shaker. So you have the whole shaker full of it, and I'm just a little grain of salt down here seeking to learn. So you are the expert and the authority. I had too much coffee already.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you. Well, actually, you know what, you guys, we're at the end here. We are. So I just want to make just another offer just about the evolutionary marketing plan, just to have a look at it. This is not a hard sell. There are 4 seats left, and the people who have already committed will be getting my personal attention on their business to learn how specifically to take their business for using the marketing that they already have and making it more authentic in their voice, being able to distribute your message better, and being able to close and follow up. So that's what it is. It's marketing, the same kind of marketing that has been taught for a long time that connects with human nature, but that really connects with human nature. That's not sleazy. That actually is relationship building, rapport building, and it's how people prefer to get along. So it's back to principles, back to basics. But I know it doesn't sound as sexy, but this is what lasts. So things that all these strategies and tactics and bells and whistles are going to go out of style, but having a solid message is lasting. So that's, again, you have over 40,000 points, which is most of you, then you are eligible for an extra $300 off. And this will be until Monday when we take these videos down, or actually midnight on Pacific time. So it's, although I might sleep in, I'll say Monday morning. Let's be honest. Monday morning, early, they will be gone. So,
and you cannot get more real than a lady in her PJ. So
if you missed my sleeping companion, just have to show Ellie. And I do literally sleep with that stuffed animal.
So you know what you're getting with Lori. You're getting raw, authentic, real, early in the morning in her PJs, all, like none of that fluff and BS that you don't need, just like straight up advice about your business. So I would highly recommend, if you need someone to hold your hand through this process, you've had enough of like reading articles and PDFs and watching videos, but you actually need someone on your side to have your back, that would be the program for you. So Absolutely. This is our last 10 day of the Vice. How are you feeling, Lori?
I'm not sure. I feel a little like verklempt. I mean, I'm gonna miss people, but I mean, we can still stay in touch on Facebook, and in the people who are in the group will, of course, will be with me for another 6 weeks, and 3 months after that, I'll continue staying in touch. And to be perfectly honest, probably even after that, I've become very good friends with a lot of my students, like Pauline Longden and Ray Brent, who live in Australia. They were going to pop on this morning and say what a wonderful experience they had being mentored by me, but they're in Australia and it's like midnight there. So that's not fair. We're not doing that to them. But all of you who have participated and played and shared your time, which is the most important thing that you have, and your energy, and Paula, your beautiful drawings, and Sally, your awesome accent, and Bonnie, your playing, and the other Bonnie, your wonderful energy. And anyway, I'll go on through, but I also want to this is a throwback, but please read some of the comments, and you can continue commenting and sharing all weekend. But there's you can ask me questions because I'm around this weekend.
Actually, you are around today at 1 p.m. Pacific, right? You're going to do another live Facebook thing. There you go.
Yes, I'm going to do a Facebook Live, just me. I will change out of my pajamas, though. And we'll talk about whatever it is that you might have specific questions about, or if you have questions about the program, you can let me know then too. And I will open this program up to the rest of my community next week. So these 4 spots will be snapped up, I guarantee it. And they will not get it. My community who's not here, they're not going to get the discount that you're getting. I can tell you that. So I hope you'll consider working with me. We're almost at capacity, and it's my favorite thing to do is teaching what I've learned all these years. So thank you, and talking to you guys. So thank you guys for showing up, and we will I'll be back at 1 Pacific. And otherwise, make sure that you check out the replays before we take them down, because there's a lot of really good info, and do print out the worksheets and follow along, because those you can still keep, right?
Yeah. So until then, make that your independence weekend. Go through this and make it. And if you're watching the replay and it's not independence, make it a great day. Why not?
I love it. Thank you guys so much for everything. It was wonderful. I will see those of you who are available this afternoon again at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And have a great day. Have a great weekend. And I hope I will be able to work with more of you who are joining us or watching the replay. So take care. Ciao for now. And we'll talk soon.